Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to the show. Listen, I gotta say, after kind of having a night to think on what's happening, to gather more information about Sony and the Bungie situation, seeing Microsoft's replies and looking more into exactly what happened, Microsoft really kind of came out on top of this and kind of finessed Sony in quite a few ways. And one of the things that I think really kind of showcases here is you have a lot of people in the industry saying that Sony can't compete with mergers and acquisitions the way that Microsoft does them. And, you know, people were wrongly saying that Sony buying Bungie was a desperate move to counter the Activision buyout. When the fact of the matter is, I'm going to give credit where it's due. The Activision buyout happened really late, started late last year around, they said something like December or something like that. So realistically, the Bungie deal was happening 5-6 months ago, so that would happen months before Microsoft was interested in buying Activision. So we know that that's not true. This wasn't a knee-jerk reaction. But one of the things that I did want to talk about here was we did get some information, and the more you think about it, the crazier this gets. So it's going to be a good video, and I can't wait to get into it. So let's go ahead and get started. Hey there, everyone. I'm the Crap Gamer, and of course, this is Crap Gamer Reviews, your home for gaming news, opinions, reviews, and much more. You'll maybe notice some changes around here, but hopefully that doesn't stop you from giving us a like and possibly even consider subscribing if you haven't already done so. Thank you so much for choosing to spend some time with me today. It means a lot. I know you guys are all busy. You have lives, work, family, girlfriends, whoever. So it's very much appreciated that everybody stops by and watches some of the videos. A simple like is all I ask. I do daily content here, so make sure you guys tune in for that, especially if you want to keep seeing it. A like will get my content seen, makes me happy, and makes me continue making more content. So anyway, it turns out, you know, that Microsoft and Sony both very interested in Bungie at particular points and times. Now, the interesting part to this is that apparently at a particular time, it looks like Microsoft was very interested. So this was coming out from Jez Gordon from Windows Central, also Jeff Grubhub from GamesBeat. They were both talking about this. The interesting thing here is apparently Jez says Bungie actually asked Microsoft for less money, and Jeff Grubb had mentioned that he believes that it was a bidding war. And you might go, well, how would Microsoft, who's worth, you know, all that money, unlimited money, lose a bidding war? Well, first of all, the closer we look at the situation, right, Bungie wanted, you know, their own freedom. They wanted to be, you know, independent. How the heck can you be bought and still be independent? It's a weird thing. So Microsoft apparently even, and this came out a little while ago too, this was something that came out in Forbes from 2020. Microsoft reportedly tried to buy Bungie and Destiny 2, but it cost too much. This news comes from Jeff Grubb from 2020, says that they've heard that Microsoft has tried to make a deal to buy Bungie multiple times, but it's always fallen through because the price is too high. Microsoft has snapped up talented developers like Obsidian and Ninja Theory, but none as large as Bungie, which of course left Microsoft many years ago after producing the original Halo games before 343 took over. Bungie then went on to partner with Activision for Destiny and part of Destiny 2 before dramatically declaring their independence, and then apparently going back into talks with Microsoft if the price was high enough. Again, Bungie kind of denied that they were in talks at the time, but this was actually corroborated that they were in talks, and we kind of know that now to be factual. You know, and so it's interesting. And then they were in talks with them again last year, same thing with Sony. But Microsoft wanted, you know, Destiny and those games to be exclusive to the Xbox brand, to the ecosystem, and Sony agreed to let them have, you know, autonomy. They're able to self-publish. They're not even technically a part of PlayStation Studios. Like, here's the thing, and I don't want PlayStation people to hate me, right? But this might be, in my opinion, from a gamer's opinion, one of the worst deals ever made. And the reason why I say that is Sony paid $3.6 billion to get something that they always had and that they would always have, regardless of who would have bought them or who would have, you know, maybe got them in the future. And the reason why I say that is because the reason why Microsoft kind of backed out of the deal, and Microsoft finessed and kind of drove up the price, right? And then backed out. They were like, hey, too rich for our blood, especially since we don't really get, would have just been a situation where this costs more than Minecraft but makes less than Minecraft, and at the end of the day, the Bungie's not going to be making exclusive games for Sony. Like, I know people don't want to believe that, right? And I understand that thought, but it's very clear, like, from Bungie's own fact, from Jim Ryan's words, they're going to continue to be multi-platform. So, as a gamer, as a PlayStation gamer, someone who has a PlayStation, how does this help me? And people might go, well, it's going to make Sony money. I'm sure it will. And then people will go, well, that money's going to get reinvested into games. But they were already making the most money they've ever made. And you know what I'm saying? What good? Like, for me, I'm looking for specific content that drives me to your platform, right? So I understand Destiny. Keep that on everything, for sure. But I don't understand why you would buy a company and then not get any exclusives out of that deal. It just really doesn't make any sense at all and is baffling. And then originally I thought, well, maybe they'll try to get some leverage or something on Microsoft to keep Call of Duty. Nope. Because how can you get leverage when both you and the company has stated you're going to continue to put games on Xbox? Like, they flat out said it. So it's a very different deal than what Microsoft has done with, Activision. Is a very different deal than what Microsoft has done with Bethesda. And it's so strange to me that everybody was so quick to point out that Microsoft's going third party, right? We've heard that a million times. I've even said it. But yet, Microsoft aren't keen to put their exclusives on competing platforms, right? They're not putting Halo on PlayStation. I'm sure they would love to put Game Pass on PlayStation, but, again, this is such a weird thing and a weird time. And according to this article as well, Bungie's deal is proof that it can't afford to compete in mergers and acquisitions. Following the breaking news of Sony's deal to acquire Bungie, several analysts quickly chimed in with their opinions and considerations on the latest chapter in consolidation of the gaming industry. DFC Intelligence, the consulting firm founded in 1994 to focus on this industry, provided an update to say that such a big transaction for a single game developer is a sign that the price of game studios has become exorbitant, and Sony cannot compete with the likes of Microsoft in mergers and acquisitions. While Sony and Nintendo are giants in video games, they are relatively small when compared to the likes of Microsoft, Google, or Amazon. Sony has announced its intentions to buy game developer Bungie for $3.6 billion. Bungie is a well-established company, but they basically have one game franchise, Destiny. It is a sign that the price of game publishers is exorbitant, and Sony simply cannot afford to compete with mergers and transactions. Indeed, the size of the deals made by Sony before Bungie, they invested $450 million in Epic Games and bought Insomniac Games for $229 million, and Microsoft paid $7.5 billion for ZeniMax and nearly $70 billion for Activision, can hardly be compared. Microsoft has a bigger war chest, clearly, and a much bigger market cap than his rival, that's for sure. That said, Sony Interactive Entertainment President Jim Ryan confirms Bungie acquisition isn't the end of the company's plans, etc., etc. It's so weird to me that, everything is going to, like, they're not even going to get an exclusive strike. Even when the game was with Activision, PlayStation would get exclusive stuff, exclusive gear, exclusive strikes, what have you. And now it just seems like none of that is realistically happening anymore. It's just to me, and it's, again, like, Sony goes out of their way to money hat something like Final Fantasy, and it looks like they money hatted Final Fantasy for this entire generation to be only on PlayStation, the only console for it to be on. And yet we're in this weird kind of situation where, I just find it to be kind of funny because they do that with that, but then with something huge, from Bungie, I mean, how much of a slap in the face would that have been to Microsoft if you would have had, from the makers of Halo and Destiny comes the new IP on PlayStation exclusively, right? Like, that's huge. People like Bungie. Look, I'm not a Destiny fan. I'm the first to admit that. But I will say that the one thing that I do like about Destiny is the fact that it has some of the best gunplay ever, right? Like, Bungie are absolute kings at gunplay. and gameplay, right? Like the gameplay is smooth. Like I think Destiny sucks and it's like a waste of time, but a lot of people like it. Like 40 million people have played that. So, there's obviously something there to that, but at the same time, you know, to me, if you're going to buy something that's going to just continue to be revenue, you might as well have bought like Roblox or something, in my opinion. It's just crazy to see how this stuff kind of comes out. But anyway, that's pretty much all I have to say on this. Microsoft kind of finessed them. I find this to be a baffling move by Sony. It's weird. But with that being said, thank you guys for watching. Rack 'em up, fact 'em up, Crep Gamer 'em up, Crep Gamer out.